introduce you.
You?
Yeah, that's what I do. So welcome all to the Ideal Bathrooms Meath JTV. We're just starting to invite the people in there. There's just about 30 at the moment and it's just increasing ever so much. So I'm joined here in the commentary box here by David Rispin of We Are Meath and Cortown GA Club. He's going to be leading the commentary today. And myself, Kieran Flynn, I'm going to be doing co-commentary and I'm going to be on the camera. So if there's any sound difficulties or camera issues, please just comment on the feed. And if you're annoyed with Davy Rispin's commentary, well, that's just unfortunate. He's here for both games. But of course, you're well used to his sultry tones and he's an excellent commentator. So I'll pass it over to Davy Rispin to introduce the teams.
Thanks a million, Kieran. As always, fair play to you, multitasking. First up is the Bóinne final from last year, from 2020, and it is between Walterstown and Castletown. Starting with the Walterstown team, in goals, number 1, John Davis. 2 is Owen O'Mahony. Full back is Brian McGrain. And in the other corner, it's Meath under 20 star Conor Farley. Half back line, where number 5 is Aaron McLaughlin, 6 is Alan Wall, and 7 is Carl Henley. Where number 8 is Barry O'Connell, and he'll be partnered in midfield by who we think is the captain, and that's Albin Crosby. Number 10 is Davy Donnellan. Rory O'Dowd wears number 11 and is centre half forward. And where number 12 is Mark McCormick. Coming into the corner forward position, where number 17 is Conor O'Sullivan. Brian O'Connell wears 14, and number 15 is Adam Traynor. Then the Castletown team, Jonathan Ginnity lines out in goals. Number 2 is Owen Reid. Where number 3 and captain in the side is Jared Farley. And number 4 is Noel Smith. Killian Price is wing half back today. Centre half back is Evan Hoy. And 7 is Killian Markey. Where number 8 is Shane Hoy, and he's partnered in the middle by number 9, Decky Cribben. Coming into the side in place of Matthew Carlin, and where number 28 is Thomas Smith. Where number 11 is Darren Finney, and 12 is Rian Monaghan. Corner forward, where number 13 is Damien Ginnity, 14 is Kevin Ross, and 15 is Mark Kelly. And we're just underway here. Joseph Kern has started things off, and Walterstown are directly in on the attack straight away. And Rory O'Dowd has got possession, centre half forward, very stylish footballer, playing it out wide. Walterstown trying to get an early pot shot here, and it's Brian O'Connell. He recycles back out to the half forward, who takes a shot, and it's a fine looking effort, and this looks to be a great score and a great start for Walterstown. And Mark McCormick, first shot, first score for Walterstown, patiently moved across the field, and Mark McCormick got in the end of it, and a really lovely score from about 40 metres out, and Walterstown into an early lead. Lovely afternoon here in Park Tolton. Slight breeze blowing down towards the town end, which will be favouring Castletown in the first half. Kick out comes from number 1, Johnny Ginnity. He's pulled that ever so slightly, and Walterstown looked like they were going to get possession, but Castletown will get the line ball, and Decky Cribben will be looking to get things moving quickly enough. Very interesting in the sense that Castletown were actually relegated last year from intermediate, so will compete in junior this year, but are in this final as a result of qualifying for the last year. So they're also going to be in the Tolton Cup final, which is the junior equivalent to this in 2021. But Walterstown, seasoned intermediate side at this stage, looking to make another burst to try and get back into senior football, having been there for so long. Ball into Brian O'Connell. He's been heavily involved so far. He soccer styles it back out, but they can't retain possession, and Castletown getting their hands on the ball, and that was Killian Markey getting his first touch of it, and Darren Finney, the ever influential Darren Finney, dropping deep to get on the ball. Noel Smith gives his tuppence worth, and Decky Cribben caressing a lovely ball inside to that man Tommy Smith, who's come into the side late. It's actually not Tommy Smith, it's Shane Hoy in midfield. Nice ball inside, well won this time by Mark Kelly. Swings around, and Kevin Ross on the left foot, not his best of strikes, does drop short, and John Davis getting something on it. Kieran, I suppose your initial start, 2 minutes in, Walterstown lead, but Castletown, when they get it to Kevin Ross, as you know, they're so dangerous.
Absolutely, and it's definitely a ploy, and he just picks up the ball here. He's definitely the man to watch from a Castletown point of view, but definitely an advanced mark attempt.
Yeah, and Tommy Smith actually chose not to take the advance mark, played on and hit it wide. He probably would have been better served to take it, and he was given the option by Joe Kern.
Absolutely, we're 2.5 minutes in, and so far it's just been very cagey. Nothing has really happened. Possession has gone up and down the field once or twice, but there's been 4 shots or 3 shots so far, and all of them have been of a poor enough standard. So hopefully the game picks up. I think there's probably a bit of shadow boxing maybe at the moment, Davey, and they're just starting to get into it. But at the moment now, as Davis just hits it over the sideline, he was aiming for Alban Crosby. It's just not exactly kicked off yet. Compared to the Miners down in Tullamore, this is a bit different now.
Yeah, after the Lord Mayor show and all of that. But it's going to be a free out to Walterstown. A slight push on the back there by the corner forward. I think it was the evergreen Damien Ginnity in there. A real stalwart in the Castletown club, as his brothers over in Meath Hill. And Walterstown look to keep the positive momentum going here. And this is a enterprising run from Cathal Henley. Ducking and diving, cutting inside. It looked like he was being fouled. Still going is Cathal Henley. He dishes it off inside. Castletown eager to get men back. Lovely switch of play right over to Adam Traynor on the far side. He's going to actually leave the ball for Rory O'Dowd. He jinks inside. Noel Smith trying to stay with him. It's a good effort, but I think that just might tail off to the far side, and it does. It's Walterstown's first wide of the match, and Castletown will be relieved at that, because it looked like Rory O'Dowd had a good opportunity for a score there, Flanner.
Yeah, he seemed to leave it across. Trainer and O'Dowd, maybe like they know themselves. They're training all year together. They know each other's kind of mechanisms of attack, and it just seemed that Trainer probably had the momentum, probably should have taken possession, but O'Dowd probably would be the premier forward maybe for scoring. So you know yourself, if Kevin Ross on the other side will do the same. A poor kick out Crosby on the attack.
Yeah, and this is big Alban Crosby. Passes inside to his midfield compatriot Barry O'Connell. Barry O'Connell very strong.
Oh, he has a back.
Alban Crosby continues. What a goal by Alban Crosby. The veteran rolling back the years. Lovely interchange of play between O'Connell and Crosby. There's about 15 years between them in age, but there was nothing in that. And that trusty left boot from Alban Crosby never fails to deliver, Kieran.
Absolutely. Alban has been a long stalwart of the Walterstown club at all the ranks for all his career, and it's just a beautiful left foot. The Kit Og, bottom corner. But of course, Ginnity in the goals. We were just talking about him, played Meath Junior. He's an expert goalkeeper. Poor kick out, and Walterstown punished. And probably matched with another poor kick. That's unlike him, very uncharacteristic. And Castletown will hope to bounce back in the next few minutes.
Yeah, and it is a big step up. I know they were an intermediate side and challenging for a couple of years, but Walterstown have had the benefit of a really competitive Bóinne Cup. They didn't have the best of fortunes in terms of results, but all of the games they played, they gave as good as they got. They were playing top class opposition, and there's going to be a free for over carrying there. I think Killian Price is the man over on the far side to have one possession back for Castletown, another member of the Meath under-20 squad of this year. Very talented young player in the Castletown club, and he's found another one in Darren Finney, but he's given up possession. And Conor Farley, another Meath under-20 player, doing well, but really well won back that time by Evan High, another strong player and a young player to come through the Castletown ranks. But Walterstown have it back again, and it's the familiar style of Rory O'Dowd slaloming through, passes back out. Barry O'Connell has way too much room for the Castletown liking, and he's got another score. And Walterstown, the possession continues. We're approaching the 6-minute mark, and they lead by 1-2 to no score.
That's brilliant. And again, unfortunately, from a Castletown point of view, it looks like they got dispossessed on the sideline nearly twice in quick succession. And then Walterstown, we saw O'Dowd, just kind of as you said, Salomon too, but definitely powerful runner. And it just looks like Walterstown are going to be in the ascendancy at the minute.
Yeah, they are. And Castletown struggling to win their own kick out. Can they get the breaking ball here? They can't. And it looked like a bit of a 50-50 there. Joseph Kern said he came in and swiped in, but he's going to pull it back. I didn't think there was much in that.
Well, he said off the ground, but sure, if that was the case, both players both did it at the exact same time, so probably a harsh one. But Castletown definitely needed the break. Yeah, I think the benefit, maybe the Castletown player got there first. I think that's probably what gave him the free. But
yeah, and Rian Monaghan was brave, in fairness to him. He's a young player, only his second year playing adult football, and he took a bit of a rap for his troubles, but he's going to win the free, and hopefully it'll be okay to continue, because he is a very talented player in the Castletown side.
He just rubbed his neck there as the physio was looking. So of course that's one of the new rule changes this year. If you suspected head injury, you can go off for a temporary sub, like the old blood sub rule. So if Castletown need to, they can sub him off. But as you said there, he's a brave young man. He's not going to want to go off too easy.
Yeah, son of Anthony of course managing Nobber this year, and on their return to intermediate football. Darren Finney is going to take the free. That's a really slack pass from Darren Finney. So unlike and so uncharacteristic from a player like that. But Brian O'Connell was really taken down hard by
agricultural defending. Would that be a phrase you could use?
Maybe a good free to give away. It just slows down the momentum. But Walterstown are eager to get things going again, but that pass is slightly overcooked, and it's going to go out for a sideline. Rian Monaghan is going to go over and take it. Castletown yet to settle. You said it earlier on, they do need a score. We're approaching, nearly 8 minutes in, and they haven't really threatened Walterstown in any given way.
And even there, like, the restarts have been terrible for Castletown. Like, they're after losing possession there again. They can't get the simple things right, and that's killing them. Like, from a sideline ball, you have to be making simple decisions. And Walterstown are capitalising an advanced mark.
Yeah, and he took it as well, Rory O'Dowd. It looked for a second as if he was going to play it, but he realised that Noel Smith was a little bit closer than he might have thought initially. But Joseph Kern given the mark, Rory O'Dowd steadying up, and I think that one's drifted wide as well by the looks of it. It has.
Yeah.
So Rory's had one to the left, one to the right, and another let off, I suppose, for Castletown, Kieran.
Yeah, and it's kind of, you do understand, like Joseph Curran calls for football there. The advanced mark, I do query about sometimes the actual statistics. I'd love to see probably a national look on that. The advanced mark is not actually as beneficial as it seems. Rory O'Dowd had a clear kind of forward momentum there. He could tuck his man on and possibly got a goal, took the advanced mark, and I don't know how many of them are scored now. Another let off, as I said, but Castletown, I think the facet of their play so far has been their poor restarts. Their kickouts have been relatively poor. Their sideline kicks, the frees are just going awry. And I think Walterstown are just maybe pressing up and it's hurting them. We see them as they're matched up in the kickout here. It is 15 players on 15.
Yeah.
They're pushing up on the kickout. Ginnity has to pick a man, just as we see here coming to our near side.
He's picking the brother, and that's Damien, and he's won a brilliant mark in the middle of the
But that's
field.
what they need to do, maybe cut out the mess, and when you just kick it to the lads who are able to catch it.
Absolutely, and the ball is over to Shane High. Shane High looking up, surveying his options. Nice ball inside to Kevin Ross, getting a paw on it, but it's going to drift away, and he is the dangerous inside forward. They're looking for him time and time again, but in fairness to Walterstown, they'll know all about his credentials, and they haven't worked out so far. But Damien Ginnity is one possession back for Castletown, and they need something, and Darren Finney will often provide it. Going through Darren Finney with the left foot, it's not just going to come back inside, it's gone to the left and it's gone wide, and Castletown still scoreless approaching the 10-minute mark.
Yeah, and it looked like a bit of go in them there. They pressed Walterstown, they dispossessed them on a poor exit from the... But again, Ross just probably... Sometimes it can work for you too as an inside forward. The ball just slapped off him, it didn't go to hand, and you know yourself as an inside forward, you need to get the ball in your hand and at your chest, because the forwards don't like kind of flapping at it and kind of having to work too hard. Corner forwards wouldn't be renowned for their work ethic, as you know.
Absolutely, Kieran.
Just like goalkeepers.
We're way too good for that. But Walterstown in possession again. Supporters getting a little bit restless over there. They probably want to see a little bit more from Castletown. Darren Finney doing well, dropping back, getting a hand on it, crucially, going with the outside the right boot, looking to send it long.
Oh, it's an advanced mark on the way out.
An advanced defensive mark, and great to see. Very few of them you see, but Brian McGrain did ever so well there, and Walterstown again looking to work it through the hands down the middle. Lovely style of football. I like it. I think it's a nice mix between the traditional hand passing and foot passing in the game, and they're always looking to get a running game going.
Well, their inside forwards are definitely something that would delight you as a manager when you're picking a team, and they look it up the whole time just as they see a ball comes in lovely into the inside forward line.
Yeah, and Rian Monaghan dropping back and doing really well, sweeping up there on that occasion. It was a nice bit of play by Davy Donnan. Couldn't just find the, as you mentioned, the dangerous inside forward line. That's a beautiful ball right into Kevin Ross's breadbasket, and he's looking, he has two men for company. Ball inside towards
great defending.
Tommy Smith, but great defending, as you say, Kieran. Walterstown getting plenty of bodies back when they don't have possession and smothering out anything that Castletown are throwing at them.
Yeah, like that was good play. Like Kevin Ross probably picked the right option. He kicked it into the inside corner and it just didn't work. The defending was excellent, just as I think Joseph Kern is dealing with a bit of back chat from Ross.
Yeah, Rossi wouldn't be that shy in giving some, and he's got a yellow card for his troubles actually, so a bit early to be getting a yellow card, and that'll be music to the Walterstown ears.
Frustrations are coming through big time there now.
Yeah, absolutely. Ball played back to Walterstown goalkeeper John Davis. He's been a long-standing servant now, playing for most of the last decade. He playing a ball out into space, and this is probably where the problem is arising, because Castletown aren't putting enough pressure on the man. Look at the Walterstown defence coming out with the ball,
and the kick
not
pass.
being engaged at all. And this is Barry O'Connell going through. He's not a man that you want to leave with too much space in front of him. Right it through. Is he going to go for the pass? He was caught in two minds. He's picked out the older brother Brian. Brian, can he finish with a score? Still going, Brian, off his weaker left foot, and he gets the score eventually. I think Barry was caught in two minds to go for the shot or pass. In the end, he did neither, but in fairness to Brian, very composed, tucked back inside, pointed over with his left boot. 1-3 to no score, Kieran.
Absolutely, and I always love to see that. But go for the goal. When you have the chance to take a goal, you should always try for it. And maybe the fact that he didn't probably have that first thing in his mind, he was thinking probably the hand pass over the bar and not maybe the goal. And that possibly the reason why the two O'Connell didn't join up. But ultimately they got their point. And if you can exit the offensive area with a score pretty much 2 or 3 times every 4, you're going to do well.
Yeah, and that's the difference between the sides so far. Castletown have created a couple of chances, but Walterstown have been that bit more clinical when they've gone into the positions. And Castletown certainly need the next score, you'd suggest. They recycle it back out to that man Darren Finney, playing almost as a quarterback. He's going from distance outside of the right boot, 45 metres from goal. And what a score that is from Darren Finney. And just when they needed it, as I said already, they do have the benefit of that breeze in the first half. And they have to try and get their shooters, i.e. Finney, Ross and Tommy Smith on the ball, and they will cause trouble.
Absolutely, and that was probably a speculative effort. Like, it's low percentage shot, that it's not one that you'd be saying like we need to work that too off. It's outside the scoring zone, but sometimes just when it's going poorly for you, you just have to take maybe the bull by the horns, and that's exactly what Finney did. And it just showed Walterstown had 12 players inside their own half, and nearly of those 12, about 10 of them inside the 45. So, and Castletown probably aren't reciprocating that. They're probably a bit more open in the back line, and that's probably playing into Walterstown counter-attacking football.
Yeah, absolutely. Noel Smith has done well on the far side. It looked like Rory O'Dowd was just going to get away for a second, but it's actually gone out for a sideline ball, which Killian Price is jogging across the take. He'll play it short to the aforementioned Smith. Smith cuts inside and gives it to centre half back Evan High. Evan High, at the second time of asking, gets it under his spell and passes it across, and Castletown can build an attack with Killian Markey. He's got plenty of open space in front of him if he wants it. He punts it forward to Darren Finney, who in fairness has been heavily involved in cutting inside, jinking Finney. He's about 45 metres out from goal. He's going to go again. He's hit it well. John Davis again elected to punch, and in fairness it was the right decision because he's picked out a Walterstown man.
Yeah, if it didn't now, it would have been the wrong decision, but of course hindsight is a great thing. But when you hit to your own player, you're delighted, and it's going to actually set up a bit of a counter-attack here, which has been Walterstown's speciality so far.
Yeah, and Brian O'Connell moving well inside, causing Jerry Farley plenty of trouble, and he's cutting inside. He's a big, strong, strapping fella. Lovely dummy solo on the right. He probably will need a little bit of help. He's got it from the younger brother again. Barry is never too far away from Brian, and Brian is never too far away from Barry. Brian switching the point of attack, going across the far side in the centre half back. Alan Wall has done extremely well to get there. Hooked it with the left foot, pulled it wide.
Yeah, possibly again a poor choice to take on the left foot, but as it was being worked around kind of in that kind of horseshoe shape, it was the two O'Connell brothers who have been instrumental so far in Walterstown's success. It's just interesting to see again that counter-attack in football. It's quite obvious a tactic. Walterstown are soaking up the pressure and then coming out very fast. Castletown probably just a bit slow to react to that thus far. Because 1-3 to 1 point, there's 15 minutes played here, so it's coming up to the water break.
Yeah, and Castletown have found a bit of a solution from the kickouts, and that's the short one. It seems to be working well from them. They managed to win the last 2 or 3 in a row after a real trouble at the start. Takey Cribben hasn't really been involved, but he's sprayed a lovely ball with outside the right boot. And for another defensive mark taken, and this time by the half forward who's dropping back, and that's Mark McCormick. He kicked the first score of the game, and the corner forward dropping right back is Adam Traynor to get on the ball, use his pace. And Walterstown very comfortable working it through the hands. They have a lot of players, Kieran, who are more than comfortable in, retaining possession and, keeping calm on the ball.
Well, that's probably a legacy again of senior football. Some of these players would have played senior football, and for those who haven't played senior football, a lot of them have played Division 1 and Division 2 football at underage, and they've won a lot of things, like the Adam Trainer's year group won Division 1 under 14 and went on to play high level football, so these lads are well able to kick football, as we're seeing, and the poor Castletown defenders are learning very quickly. Yeah. Alvin Crosby, there's one of my legacy men from the seniors. He puts it wide. That left foot mightn't be as good as we thought.
Yeah, a very rare wide from Alvin Crosby. He just got it exactly where he wants, and there's going to be a substitution here for Walterstown. Rory O'Dowd, I'd imagine that is an injury, because he wouldn't be a player that should be taken off if all things were all right, and it will be a loss. Peter Reynolds, one of the old war horses and veterans of senior football of years gone by. We will go into the water break, but that will be a blow for Walterstown if it is to be Rory O'Dowd going off and staying off. But as you say, Kieran, Peter Reynolds, a man of huge experience of playing senior football for years. Yeah,
and a man who played with Clonmeston as well, as won senior hurling titles with Clonmeston, so he's a lot of experience from both codes. Not a bad lad to bring on, but O'Dowd will be a loss, and I suppose from Castletown point of view that will give them a bit of hope, because that is one of their major attacking threats. But at the moment, if I was a Castletown man, I'd be worried more about my own scoring, because at the moment, like, you have to score at least 6 points just to bring up a deficit, you know what I mean? And that's a hard thing to do. So you have to, never mind stop the Walterstown juggernaut from attacking, you have to also score 6 points more than them minimum.
Yeah. And of course, we haven't even spoken about the sideline. You have Martin O'Connell and Colm Coyle, 2 All-Ireland winners with Meath back in the 90s together. One with Castletown and Colm Coyle, and Martin O'Connell, I think, for the 3rd consecutive year now with Walterstown as well. A fascinating sideline duel.
Absolutely, and like, that's something we always talk about, like, these guys who have been great players, so like, they've had mixed success as managers, but the one thing we know is that they're very passionate Gaelic football men. And it's seen that, like, they probably have adapted. A lot of their teams have played differently over the years. Like we said, Walterstown probably playing with quite a modern style. We've seen the counter-attacking football. They're moving through the hands. They're kick passing. Castletown probably slightly more traditional with, like, again, long-range kicking and a lot more, we'll say, open defending. And maybe open when it's working well, it's maybe not so open. But when it's not working, it is open. So it's interesting. Those guys, probably the setup in Crow or in Partolchin here is they're very much away from each other. So hopefully the duel doesn't become physical now.
Yeah, and Walterstown slow to get out for the water break, and Castletown taking full advantage and going short with the kick out. Long ball into the space, and Rian Monaghan is the man chasing after this. Struggles to get it twice. He'll go for the 3rd time, and it is 3rd time lucky for Rian Monaghan. He gets it under his spell. Bright orange boots. Love to see that in a corner forward or wing forward in Rian's example. And Castletown looking to build something here. Here's Killian Markey again. Ball might be a little bit slippy. There was a bit of rain earlier on, but not too many opting for clubs. Here's Decky Cribben, cultured right foot. Has he got the score? It's not. It's curled wide, and Castletown, that's the 4th or 5th wide already. They could rue those yet, Ciarán.
Yeah, and you mentioned the weather conditions here. Slightly windy, and it's definitely heading towards the O'Mahony's clubhouse. So Castletown have the benefit of that, and they've tried a few long rangers. They've scored one excellent one, but other than that, the shooting has been poor, as Davis's kick out goes very high and handsome, and that's definitely the wind conditions playing foul.
Yeah, and Shane Hoy was the man to anticipate that, and he's found Damien Ginnity. He goes inside to Tommy Smith. Very tricky corner forward, one of the best in the intermediate for years on his day. Real experienced campaigner these days, and he's gone back inside to Shane Hoy, and on the loop was Kelly. Is it going to stay? It's hit the upright.
Oh, danger.
It's dropped short, but John Davis has done really well, and he's managed to retain possession for Walterstown. Could have been a dangerous moment had he not been aware to that, but just Castletown's luck, I suppose, coming down off the inside of the upright and out to safety, and Walterstown can build again with the fullback, and he started really well. That's Brian McGrain. The dangerous Barry O'Connell looking to take on his man, and Evan Hoy is there for company. Walterstown again content to just keep the ball, try and build a pattern of play, and with Alban Crosby, a man never in a hurry to do too much, takes it all in his stride. What a class act he is. Nice ball inside with his left boot, and it's worked well. Dished off inside. Cornerback is Conor Farley. He's found Brian O'Connell. This would be a great score for goals, but he's pulled it to the near side and wide, and that's a missed opportunity for Walterstown.
Yeah, but their play is quite swift and it's good. They're moving the ball. Even like the odd time where it slows down, it's slowing down, but it's moving quickly laterally. As in, it's not going forward; it's going laterally. But the pace is good. The pace is strong. They're not really hesitating. As you said, Alban Crosby is surveying the field. He's not just slowing the play down, which is quite tactically sound. So I wouldn't be too worried now. Walterstown management, I'd say, are quite happy at the moment, as the 103 people are watching us here in the Ideal Bathrooms, Meath TV.
Yeah, absolutely.
A little throw.
Yeah, a little throw. Not a deliberate strike in action, and Joseph Kern has given a free in for Castletown for that. And it's probably deserved based on the pressure they've started to put on the ball, and I'm sure Colm Coyle will have got into them at the water break about that. And Darren Finney, he's going to be presented with a difficult enough opportunity, but he is a man capable of the spectacular. He'll look to sit this one up on the breeze and push it out towards the right and draw it in with the breeze. He's certainly going to go for it by the looks of it. Shaping out of the hands, taking a few yards as you would expect. He's put it a bit too far right,
yeah,
but it mightn't just go out. And Damien Ginnity swing at the left,
dangerous.
It's in there towards Mark Kelly, who's taken it really, really well. Can you recycle it? Tommy Smith might pull him that, and referee's giving a free in for.
Soft, because the hands were very far away from the boot there.
Yeah, John Davis none too happy with his defenders there. The fact that Mark Kelly, one of the smallest men on the pitch, could actually catch that ball on a
Yeah, but sometimes that happens. I know from being the goals myself, sometimes you're just not expecting the bad the bad effort. Like the Ginnity kick was poor, and sometimes it's hard to react to a poor kick, and you're set up to react to kind of what you expect, and the unexpected is nearly the worst thing for a defensive unit, and it can be quite dangerous. As Vinny's going to stick this over the bar, you'd imagine.
Yeah, and that he duly does, and Castletown have got the last 2 scores now. So it was 1-3 to no score. It's now 1-3 to 2 points. So we have a 4-point game. Castletown have finally got back into it, and they'll need plenty more of that with that breeze behind them. Martin O'Connell will be a little bit concerned at how his side have probably gone off the boil in the last 10 minutes. They've missed some opportunities, but they haven't been near as clinical and as potent as they were in the first 10 minutes of the game. Long kick out going out around the middle, and again it's that man Darren Finney sweeping up the breaking ball. Shane Hoy involved in everything as well. Finney goes back and content to keep possession, punted across to the far side to that man Jerry Farley, leaving his full-back berth, and Farley will probably look for a little ball inside. Not really the best of balls, and Tommy Smith will be content to get a sideline out of that, because I don't think it was a forwards ball at all.
Castletown had definitely picked up the breaking ball part of their game. They were leaving a lot behind them, and there were a lot of unforced errors. They've cut out a lot of the errors. I think they're starting to get into the game because of that fact.
And this is a man that they'll want in the game too, and that's Killian Price. He's done really well. Shane Hoy with the left boot, he's got the score, and it's 3 in a row for Castletown. There was half a chance of a goal just for a second, but I think Shane Hoy did the right thing. It was the first real time we've seen Killian Price with one of those piercing runs, and we have a 3-point game.
Absolutely, and that's just kind of building on what I was saying there, that Castletown have stopped shooting themselves in the foot, and I think that's helping their game dramatically, because they were just making silly mistakes, and Walterstown were crucifying them just as the pressure is building up there. Davis kicks over the sideline. Now this is Castletown's chance. Walterstown are starting to do, it's kind of flipped around like the water break has done in so many games. It's reverse kind of roles, and now Walterstown, they're delaying the kick, so he's moving it in 13 metres to make it a free.
Yeah, it's going to be a free, and Kevin Ross.
And that just shows you when things are going poorly, they can just build, and bad kick out, delaying the kick out, or delaying the sideline kick. And now it looks like Ross might even shoot here.
Yeah, I think he will. It's on his favourite.
Or definitely be a 1-2 and a shot.
He's definitely going to go for it with the breeze on his back, and he's kind of scuffed it, but it's dropping short. That John Davis had to come and do extremely well. That's 3 or 4 times.
He's been watching the volleyball in the Olympics, has he?
Really
spiking the ball.
Yeah, absolutely off his line. I know you were pre-active the other night in the Premier game off your line as well.
Oh Christ, I think I was too active, to be honest. Now a goalie shouldn't get that many possessions.
Yeah, absolutely. But Walterstown under a bit of pressure now, and this is completely flip-flop, because in the first 10 minutes of the game they had it at their ease here, and they were emerging without any pressure, but Castletown are now putting a high press on, and they're just not getting things as easy as they were, but they managed to work it out, and Aaron McLaughlin is the man to maraud down this near-hand touchline, and nobody going to him immediately, and Aaron McLaughlin happy to just go in pursuit, and he plays the ball inside to the centre half back Alan Wall. Loves bombing forward. Albin Crosby on the left foot hits it, not as clean as the strikes, and Johnny Ginnity doing extremely well, trying to pick out Rian Monaghan, but that's another ball that's gone aimlessly over the sideline.
The wind has picked up slightly. The sun came out for about 2 minutes, and it died, and now it's after getting a bit colder here in Partholchin, and the wind has definitely picked up slightly, and Walterstown haven't been able to kick the ball as much, and that was something that they were really doing well in the first 5 or 10 minutes. They're doing a lot more hand passes now, and it's slowed down their active progress. They're not moving it fast. It's gone very stale for them now.
Yeah, and of course losing the talismanic figure of Rory O'Dowd will have been a massive concern to the Walterstown side, and that's another ball that's just been aimlessly given away that time by Brian McGrain, and long ball into space. Kevin Ross will catch it, and he'll take on his man. He's 1v1 with Cathal Henley. He goes back outside to the other hitman, and that's
brilliant.
And the 1-2 is brilliant. Kevin Ross, this time he's on his left foot. He might want to check back and just try and play a ball inside. He's done that with his right foot. Lovely pick up that time by, I think it's Killian Markey, the wing half back. Markey goes back outside Tommy Smith. There is options. Damien Ginnity is one of them. Ginnity cuts back, hooks it with his right foot.
Probably should have.
Short. There's Davis is
another one
again, but it's still up for grabs, and Markey again trying the fancy pick up.
Ben job back to be shouting in the stand.
Tommy Smith, surely this time for Castletown. Smith, he struck it well. Is it going to go over? It is, and it's 4 in a row for Castletown. We have a 2-point game here. Castletown 4 points, Walterstown 1-3, and if at first you don't succeed, try again, Kieran Flynn.
Absolutely, and we have to go back. The water break is completely changed. Colin Coyle, whatever he said or or whatever the instructions, tactical changes, or maybe it's just the impetus of the Castletown players. They've just said to ourselves, we can't just keep doing what we're doing here. We're going to lose this game badly. And Walterstown have just faded so much in the last few minutes. They really need to get a score. They've had 3 or 4 wides and they just need to get a score so badly.
Yeah, they do. And one man who could potentially provide it is Brian O'Connell. He's done well to show out in front and win the ball, and he's played that to Conor O'Sullivan, the late inclusion into the team. Ball outside. Looks like a fine strike. That's a wonderful effort that time by, I think that's Mark McCormick, is it?
Looked like him, yeah.
Possibly with his second score, and very similar to his first one. Long distance, beautiful effort with the right foot, and as you say, Kieran, Walterstown needed it. They lead by 3 again, 1-4.
Absolutely. Mark McCormick, another man who's played an awful lot of football for Walterstown over the years, has been a great player. He's hurled a bit with Kiltale as well, so again he's got his senior element on that too. But definitely, that's a great one now.
Yeah, Shane Hoy doing extremely well to win the kick out from Johnny Ginnity, playing it first time into possession, and Mark Kelly was judged to being fouled, and he's going to leave that for Kevin Ross to try.
All the cornerbacks online have just winced at that. Now that's
yeah.
What are you supposed to do when you lay a bit of timber on them, like?
And the Kilbride lads will be looking on. They play Castletown first round of the championship. Kevin Ross looking to go short here. Not sure was that the best of options.
No.
Would have been a very scoreable option in the end. He does get the score, and this one looks a bit better on the copybook because it'll go down as a score from play.
Absolutely, yeah. Like Kevin Ross, possibly because he probably muffed his last kick from set play, so he wants to probably get one from play, and now he probably made a lot of hard work out of that, but the ball's over the bar and there's only bloody 2 points in it now, and you wouldn't have said that 15 minutes ago.
No, absolutely not. We have 4 minutes to play in normal time in this first half. Joseph Curran.
Not impressed. Well, I think Owen Griffin, I'm not sure if that's Owen from Clonagh. It's hi Sean O'Reilly.
Yeah, and
if you have any comments on the game you're watching, if any tactical feedback or anything you want us to talk about at half time or anything like that, please comment in.
Use the hashtag AskFlinner. Conor Farley, very exciting and dynamic cornerback from Walterstown. He's a player with a huge future and great prospect for the Walterstown club. They've produced so many of those down through the years, and Brian O'Connell is another one. Lovely ball, first time given off to the brother Barry. It's lovely football this from Walterstown, and surely a free. Was it a deliberate drag down? I'm going to say probably not, but Aaron McLaughlin was the man making the hard yards. That was a lovely move by Walterstown.
Yeah, when they start moving the ball quickly and swiftly, that's the danger. As Michelle Garrity McKeever says, on the tones, you're about an hour and a half early, but we appreciate the support for your team. The Fesh Cup will be live,
and of course the Tones of the intermediate hurling final next weekend as well. Yeah, so it's a busy couple of weeks for the Tones.
Absolutely. But back to the game here, Aaron McLaughlin, we know him to be a speedster. He broke the tackle well after some intricate hand passing and some good angle running. And definitely, it wasn't a pull down, but definitely it was a pull back. The jersey was held, and it's not a player fit medium. It's definitely on Aaron now. It's a bit big on him, and maybe just it helped because it was dragged back fairly bad. Yeah,
and it probably needed to be done because he looked to be true on goal. And Brian O'Connell, who was heavily involved in that move, was the man who ends up finishing it from the resultant free. And Walterstown have re-established that 3-point lead. It's now Walterstown 1-5, Castletown 5 points. We have about 2 minutes left in normal time to play in this first half, where Johnny Ginnity will take the restart. He's angling over towards the far side and the stand side, and he's picked Darren Finney. One of Darren Finney's best characteristics or traits is his leap. He's not the biggest of men, but he's a sensational leap off the ground and always a good option for kickouts. And Jerry Farley again leaving the full-back position and playing a ball. This one looks to be just going over the sideline a little bit too far.
I think the Castletown kick-out has improved dramatically as well. They were struggling maybe in the first few instances. Walterstown pressed it, but the Castletown kick-out, I think you referenced it going short as well. It's definitely improved, and they're getting a lot more primary possession from it, and I think that's been a major part of their improvement the last 15 or so.
Bit of variation. Barry O'Connell getting on the ball, and he's playing it to the expressive wing back, which is Brian McGrain. He's played the ball across the field, and he's found corner forward Adam Traynor, who's popping up all over the pitch. He's been over our side a couple of times as well. He's got Kevin Ross for company with Damien Ginnity joining the fray, but Walterstown managed to retain possession, and the substitute, that's number 19, Peter Reynolds, the veteran, playing it inside, and Traynor again involved. Brian O'Connell has taken the mark. Really intelligent play from Brian, and surely this will represent another good chance of a score on the edge of the D.
Yeah, definitely, and that's kind of that was probably what the advanced mark was for. Like, that's a encouraging direct kicking, not this kind of high almighty, like, let's hope, like we saw in the Ulster final the other day, but that's more direct kicking, and O'Connell has a chance to put it over, which he dutifully does, and that's what the advanced mark is probably designed for. To break. The sweeper was there as well, but a good accurate kick bypassed it.
Yeah, and even Brian made that extra burst to make sure he
Yeah.
caught the ball before it hopped as well. He really did know what he was doing. Almost a pre-rehearsed move from Walterstown, and they lead by 4 again. So they've managed to stave off that Castletown fight back. It's now 1-6 to Walterstown, 5 points to Castletown, and Johnny Ginnity, for the umpteenth time in this half, is going to restart with a kick out, and he's elected to go long this time.
Great.
But that was it looked to be a good fetch, and rightly Joseph Curran didn't blow the whistle for Mark because the ball was dropped, but no damage done for Walterstown immediately. They retained possession, but it's given up that time by Davy Donlan, and cornerback Owen Reid did extremely well, picked him out, long ball into space, and Mark Kelly, that was a lovely improvised fist that time by Conor O'Sullivan with his back to it, just lifted the fist and managed to win possession. And looked like there was a bit of a swing out there, but
I was just an owl, get off me.
yeah,
I don't think no strike in it.
Fairness to Damien Ginnity, he wouldn't be a man to make the most of anything like that. He just hopped straight back up and got on with it. Walterstown are looking to get on with it, and Barry O'Connell playing the ball inside, and Mark McCormick, who's got 2 points already, picking out the dangerous corner forward Brian. Lovely dummy on the left. Oh, it's a fantastic score for Brian O'Connell. I love that because he was going to get blocked down, took the little hop, and off his weaker foot for the second time in this half gets a score.
Brilliant. And again, Mark McCormick's play in was brilliant. It was one of those kind of dinky little passes. He knew that probably that time there was no chance of an advanced mark, so he gave the one bounce pass, and it's the perfect ball for a full forward. Take it on the one bounce, turn the man, and it makes it very difficult.
Yeah, and that's all she wrote for the first half here in Park Tulton in the Bóinne 2020 final, where Walterstown have a double scores lead. They lead by 7 to 5. I suppose 5 minutes ago there was only 2 points between the sides, but they've hit the last 3 consecutively approaching the half-time interval, and they lead by 5. Kieran Flynn, your thoughts on that first half?
Yeah, well, it's a mixed bag. Like, definitely the first 15 minutes was looking like Walterstown domination was going to come, and Castletown, not you can't say disinterested, that's not fair, but definitely a side that seemed to be a bit starstruck or something. Like on the big day, they didn't expect much from it. They were starting a lot of kind of unforced errors, kickouts weren't going well, a lot of problems on their own making, but they realised maybe after the water break that there's a game here if they wanted. Walterstown probably were just put under a lot more pressure. Castletown really improved things, and the Walterstown, maybe the change was probably the water break and Rory O'Dowd going off were 2 major changes in that first half.
Yeah, absolutely. I suppose the injury to Rory O'Dowd, I'm not sure is a precaution or not, but it will be a concern for Martin O'Connell with championship just 2 weeks away now, so it'll be interesting to see what way he is after that. But yeah, absolutely, as you say, Kieran, losing a player of that calibre is always going to be difficult, but they managed to regroup, and Brian O'Connell has probably come into the game a little bit more since that, and he's been the danger man inside for them.
Yeah, we complimented Walterstown direct kicking for a lot of that game, and it was only when they didn't really kick they went back to a lot of slow hand passing where they probably faltered. But whenever they kick direct, they've been causing Castletown problems. Castletown haven't really played much sweepers or any of that kind of real over the top defensive systems. Not to say we're encouraging it, but they're very open, and the direct kicking into the corners has caused them problems. But I think you referenced it, Dave, as well in the commentary, that the pressure's not coming maybe at the half back, half forward kind of fight here, kind of just on the 45 line, that basically it's too easy to kick the ball in. And ultimately, that's how Walterstown got a lot of their scores, from easy kicking in. Of course, it's direct, it's accurate, but at the same time, when you're not under pressure, it's much easier. And then Castletown kind of faltered a lot, didn't really know what they were at, but when they got their act together, it's turned into a great game here.
It has, very entertaining, and yeah, as we said already, Castletown won't be in the intermediate this year, but they are in the intermediate cup final here today from last year. They are going to contest the Talta Cup final later in the year. We're not sure when that'll be, but they'll play St Vincent's, who they'll also meet in the championship in the group stages. So plenty of football ahead for Castletown. Walterstown will be looking to set a bit of a marker here, Kieran, because they're in a very competitive intermediate championship as always, and they're a side that probably feels that they didn't do themselves justice against St Michael's last year when they were beaten, and they'll have a point to prove this year.
Definitely, and Walterstown is a club with a lot of tradition. When they were relegated that time, there was, remember, a lot of the stuff about the relegation playoffs and all. There was a lot of turmoil in the committee room at the time, but regardless of that, on the field they were disappointed to go down. They felt that they were a senior club, they didn't want to go down, and they've probably they've had a few opportunities to get back, and they just haven't taken them. And I'd say it's killing a club like Walterstown that wants to be up at the top table, and they're doing a lot of work at juvenile level, an awful lot of work in Johnstown in the new urban development, and they're a club that wants to be at the top level. And that's just probably killing them. But as you said, I don't think there's too many clubs that go out and play a game now where they're not trying to win. there's definitely, like, laying markers down is one thing, but I think they want to go out there. If you're worth your salt, you want to be able to put the jersey on for your club and try and win the game.
Oh no, absolutely. And this is Castletown. I suppose the same applies for them. They were stunned last year when they were relegated from Intermediate Championship, having 12 months ago been a kick at the ball away from contesting an intermediate final. It was a real blow to them, and I know they'll be eager to bounce straight back up and get up from junior to intermediate. But you know yourself, you're a player with Dunsany. It's a very competitive grade also to try and get out of.
Yeah, and as we talked about Walterstown, like Dunsany, a lot of clubs have, once they've been relegated, it's not, only one club goes up every year. And as well, the junior is going to be highly competitive because of the relegation that's happening at the intermediate level, with 3 clubs coming down and then 3 more the following year, whatever it is. That there's going to be an awful lot of, we'll say, intermediate teams playing junior football in 2 years' time. So if Castletown don't get up this year, they're going to find it harder the next year, and then in year 3 of their junior level, they're going to struggle because it's going to get very competitive. So if I was the Castletown player this year, I'd be putting a lot into it because it's going to get harder and harder and harder.
Yeah.
But definitely that Vincent's game, that's going to be one to get to if you can get a ticket, or if we're streaming it or whatever, because that'll be a cracker of a game. Vincent's are playing some serious football. Castletown have been playing some serious football. So I think both teams will be well suited to an open, free-flowing game of football.
Yeah, for sure. And good to see supporters back in here as well today. We will have the second billing, or I suppose the main event of this double header later on, and it is the Fesh Cup final from 2020, and it sees the meeting of Gael, Columkill and Wolftones for the second time already this year, and it's going to be the third time in 2 weeks or 3 weeks time when they meet in the championship too. So we'll be interested to see, do we see some shadow boxing and what sort of teams are put out and what sort of dynamics are in play. But at the end of the day, Kieran, it's a Fesh Cup final. You want to put your best foot forward.
Yeah, and I know maybe a lot of what's happened, I wasn't really a fan of what the changes made to the Fesh Cup, etc., where they've kind of turned them into O'Byrne Cup style competitions, where they've turned into pre-season. The Fesh Cup used to bring thousands to Partolchin in the past, and it was seen as second to the championship. Not the league was third. The league was always the third competition. The Fesh Cup's been somewhat reduced in the way it's been catered and delivered for, but it still doesn't change. Like, most players will love to win a Fesh Cup, and the likes of Kells and the Tones, who are chasing a senior championship too, they want to lay down, as you said, a marker to win a competition. But when you mentioned the point about shadow boxing and playing in 2 weeks' time, like, it'd be nothing better than giving an old sucker punch to a lad and saying, well, we bet you once, we'll bet you again. And Trim here in the Brendan Davis yesterday played probably not the team that'll play in the senior final at the weekend, and they struggled to beat Nafina, and it was a bit of a mess. So I don't know, do you really want to go out and lose a game to a club? I'd like to play my best team, maybe keep a few tactics or a few kickouts maybe under wraps, but overall pick your best team to win the game. Yeah,
absolutely. We're looking forward to that one. There's the 7 o'clock throw-in for that later on, and we will be live once again for that huge derby game, I suppose you can call it, as well, between Wolftones and Gael Columkill. But Martin O'Connell and Colm Coyle are just getting the final instructions into their troops before they re-emerge for the second half. If you have any
comments, please put them in there, we'll talk about them. Or if you've noticed anything watching your game yourself, anything we may have missed, or we could be talking through our hats, because the last thing you want to think is, we're experts, we're just the lads they put in charge, which is usually the lads who don't have a clue. So wouldn't be surprised on that. But the game's been good and it's enjoyable. We're up here, Christian Smith from Trim scaffolding up here on the Ideal Bathrooms Media TV. It's a great view up here, and I think if I can get away from that bloody microphone and stay up here for more games, I think it's the place to watch games.
Yeah, Martin O'Halloran running the show as per usual over on the far side at the MC for the evening.
You can see him there in the middle of the camera there at the far side.
He's ready to go.
Shanky from Command and Wood, the far side in the yellow.
Absolutely, and Joseph O'Brien is over there as well, I think, somewhere. So Walterstown ready to rock for the start of the second half, and Castletown are just breaking away from their huddle now as well. And we're going to be back underway any given moment. I don't see any changes yet on either side, or there is actually one, and it looks to be Robbie Hoy, I'm going to say.
It is Robbie Hoy,
number 21 for Castletown, back from a leg break. He's returning to action, and he's going to go straight into, I think, the full forward line. We'll just try and work out who's gone off. I think it's Tommy Smith. I can see him walking over the steps on the far side. Tommy Smith, who was a late addition to this. Yeah. He has been withdrawn, and Robbie Hoy is going to go into the full forward line. He's going to play actually at centre forward. Damien Ginnity playing as a Roman, sort of free-flowing.
You notice that the positions forward are changing dramatically as we're back.
And we are back. Joseph O'Brien throws in the ball.
Joseph O'Brien throws in, we've been in trouble.
Castletown straight out on the attack, and Damien Ginnity cutting inside. Shirley was fouled, swiped down, and this is going to be a good opportunity for Kevin Ross.
You'd kill that. That's like the training there. That's when everyone in the bloody team goes down and does 20 press-ups. If you do a tackle like that in the game, that's very frustrating foul to give away. Like, that's just silly. Like, cut across him. Ginnity was so clever there. He knew exactly what was coming.
Yeah, and he would have been on his weaker left foot, and he's actually presented Kevin Ross on his strong left foot a very presentable opportunity to get Castletown off the mark in this second half. But my word, he's pulled that left and he's pulled it wide.
It's very uncharacteristic.
Inexplicable miss really from Kevin Ross. Man of his calibre, you'd expect him to be scoring. So it's a big let off for Walterstown at the start of the second half. They maintain their 5-point lead, and John Davis will restart.
He didn't do that when he played us in the Tailteann Cup a few weeks ago. He couldn't miss.
I hope he doesn't do it when we play them in the championship in a few weeks' time as well. But Alban Crosby going up and contested the ball, and the break was won really, really well by Colin Henley. He's had a good first half too, playing the ball inside. Lovely ball off the shoulder to Conor O'Sullivan. Back outside to Barry O'Connell. Barry O'Connell with the right foot has a cut inside. It hasn't. It's also drifted wide. So we have a wide apiece at the start of the second half. And as you were, 1-7 to Walterstown, 5 points to Castletown.
And very kind of reminiscent of how the game started. It was very much over and back, but with poor enough efforts on goal. So obviously if you're a Walterstown supporter watching, you'll be hoping that it is very much as you were. Castletown do need something to change. Be it, I don't know, be it a goal or just maybe 2 or 3 unanswered points. It's just this tit for tat is not going to work when you're down by 5 points.
Yeah, Castletown managing to retain their own kick out again. Owen Reid finding Killian Markey, who's got on a lot of ball in the first half. He's a player that likes to get forward and get onto the front foot, and Darren Finney, as you'd imagine, has been heavily involved and really influential in all that's been good about the Castletown performance in the first half. Evan Hoy, first time we've got to see him ramble forward and he playing the ball inside. Fine effort there by Killian Price, but that's going to catch the wind, and again it's going to drift wide, and it's the second wide in the second half for Castletown. Sun out. There is some ominous looking clouds overhead though on the far side, just behind the far bank, but hopefully the rain will stay away. We had plenty of rain in Tullamore today, Kieran. It hasn't been too bad up here in Navan.
Coming from that boy Kells direction, so maybe, I don't know, the boys are bringing it with them. I don't know, hopefully not.
Brewing up a storm. John Davis with the kick out for Walterstown. Man in white trying to find a man in black, and he's found one in Mark McCormick. Wow, what a fetch that was from Mark McCormick. He goes with the outside the right boot. Brian O'Connell looked to make a dart at it, but the ball was just slightly overcooked, and Johnny Ginnity will keep the ball in play and try and get a move going in motion for the Castletown men. Here's Jerry Farley, the captain. He picks out Owen Reid. Try and do things a little bit quicker. Walterstown are retreating. They're not putting that much pressure on, so they're trying to block up the middle third and then try and engage the Castletown men. Owen Reid is getting engaged, but he's found Decky Cribben, a man in which Castletown will hope to see plenty more of in the second half. He's a very talented and ball-playing midfielder. Big, strong, strapping man as well. And still going as Decky Cribben. The left foot. This would be a great score. Davis came, but it was punched over by Kevin Ross. In fairness to Rossi, he got there and got the fist on it, got the score. Could have ended up in the back of the net though.
Yeah, like again, the effort obviously by Cribben was to try and score the point, but Ross was fetching around, and Davis has probably done that about 4 or 5 times now, where he's had to deal with high balls in, and he's opted to punch on every occasion, and it's worked for him thus far. And really all he could do, I think he did stop the goal, in fairness to him, in the nets by Ross. Ross was trying to get downward pressure and he just couldn't get it, so it ended up being a point, and that's probably as well as the Walterstown goalkeeper could have done. So impressed by him thus far, as much as he's had element of luck, but I think every good goalkeeper has a very lucky streak in them too.
Absolutely, and unlucky by times as well. But he's not the biggest of men either, so he probably uses the punch to his advantage where possible. But Walterstown have got a free. Joseph Kern's going to move it on as well, and Barry O'Connell is the man that's going to take it. Decky Cribben is trying to slow down his momentum. He's going to look for a bit of movement inside. It's not really forthcoming, so he has to revert back to Alan Wall. Wall, who's been very good in that first half, and he picks out Barry O'Connell. Nice ball inside to the brother Brian. He could have taken the mark.
He's not taking it.
He doesn't. He has goal on his mind. Brian O'Connell blocked, and it's going to skew away for a 45. But very interesting that time, Kieran, because it would have been a very easy option to take the mark. Yeah, but Brian a goal on his mind.
But I think that's probably the criticism of the advanced mark, is that exact thing. That basically most people have commented that it actually ruins the game, in the sense that there was clearly more play on a goal shot or even a shot from play. that maybe the advanced mark should be some version of an advantage rule. Maybe we have 5 seconds to come back, maybe, or something like that, because it does slow down the game, and it's much more entertaining for us watching the game, especially as neutrals, when a guy opts to play on. But from a tactical point of view, he should have took the advanced mark and scored. But maybe McCormick.
They've worked a quick one. That's a brilliant training ground move. And Mark McCormick has hit his 3rd point from playing this game. In fairness to Brian O'Connell, he was the man on hand to collect the ball, give a quick 1-2 to McCormick, and he just simply pointed it over.
I find that very frustrating, and you see a lot playing like in goals now. You see that a lot of players opt to come on the goal line to protect the long ball in, but I find that actually most players would benefit from marking the kicker. You should mark the kicker to stop the 1-2, because that was clearly a tactic, but they were too slow to realise that Mark McCormick was opting to. He was always the option A, so they really should be marking the kicker from set play like that, and they've done it a few times now where they've gone short and have a 1-2. So really, I think they need to cop on to that exact plan. It's happened 3 times now.
Yeah, absolutely. And Walterstown 1-8, Castletown 6 points. So we have that 5-point lead re-established yet again, and Walterstown are going to have possession here from the sideline kick, and it's going to be Mark McCormick to take it. Arguably the pick of the Walterstown performer so far, and he's picked out another one in Big Barry O'Connell, and he just shrugs Shane High aside. Lovely play, Davy Donlan involved. McCormick gets it back. Donlan, this would be a great score if they could get it. Donlan with the left, they like it on the far side, and why wouldn't they? What a score from Davy Donlan. It's his first of the day, but a brilliant move from Walterstown right from the sideline, Kieran.
Brilliant, and it's just, that's the best part of Walterstown's play. Swift kicking the ball, moving off the shoulder. Came from, again, O'Connell in the middle of the field, just shrugged his man off, like very powerful man, just like Cribben with Castletown. It was a great catch, but it just shows you when they move the ball quickly, they benefit.
They do indeed, and Cribben trying to pick out Mark Kelly inside from that mark. They will retain possession with the sideline kick, which Rian Monaghan is eager to take, but looking for options, and Killian Markey inevitably is the one to provide it, and Monaghan again fisting inside to the Silver Fox, Damien Ginnity. Ginnity was fouled and he was tackled overzealously by Mark McCormick. He's trying to get it
moved in, definitely.
Yeah, but referee says bring it back, and
Joe Curran showing a bit of wisdom beyond his age there, knowing that it was a bit of tomfoolery.
Absolutely, and Darren Finney is going to be the man to assume responsibility from this free, and it's one that you feel Castletown needs. 6 points down, and Finney has had mixed fortune so far with his shooting. He's kicking into the teeth of the breeze. Difficult enough kick.
Definitely, but you'd have to back him. Like you have a lot of kicks behind him in his career, but of course that's going to be a commentator's curse more than likely.
He does strike it well though.
No,
he
didn't.
Has got the score. It's a great score from Darren Finney. Set it up on the breeze and got the sufficient curl as well. We have a 5-point game. Walterstown 1-9, Castletown 7 points. We played 8 minutes in this second half, and Johnny Davis is going to take the kick. And he looks to find Alban Crosby, who at the second time of asking collects it. May have been a hint of handling that on the ground. Looked as if he's going to be fouled
just
there.
avoided it, I think.
But Joseph Curran has given the free against Alban Crosby. Damien Ginnity has been hauled to the ground. And they're just getting to know each other a little bit more now, Castletown and Walterstown.
I think they're probably realising that there's a game here.
Yeah, two heavyweights collided there in the middle of the picture with Cribben and oh dear.
And they're only giving an old bit of handbags.
Who's got the bigger push? Cribben and Crosby, the two number
lads,
9s.
They're not used to going backwards, so when the two boys are pushing, they're like, this isn't the norm.
It's a 99 as big as the one in Ross Cross.
Oh Christ, even bigger it's a.
And Darren Finney has the free. He goes short to Shane High. Finney again looking and trying to chink inside. Killian Markey is the man.
12 players inside their 45.
But they need pace, and they need to put a bit of an injection of something into their move to just try and penetrate.
Make that 13 players inside their 45.
Yeah, Castletown are being a little bit predictable with their play, and it's up to them to, I suppose, inject something into their game to just try and penetrate that Walterstown rearguard a little bit more than
this
they are.
We see now the horseshoe. This has become the kind of the thing the Dubs kind of invented, where you bring it in kind of a U shape to change the angle of attack, but it doesn't work if you keep going back into the same corner. It really makes the shot, like, this is a great one if it goes.
It doesn't. It's gone wide.
But see, I think by forcing the one corner, it needs to swap sides. You need to be more open, and like the width is not there. Very narrow by Castletown, and it's very one-dimensional.
Absolutely, yeah.
If you don't score quickly, they're getting caught behind the 13-man blanket.
Yeah, and there's going to be another substitute for Walterstown and indeed Castletown. So there's going to be a double change, one on either side.
Walterstown substitution, number 9, Alvin Crosby, is replaced by number 26, Robbie Cunningham.
So Robbie Cunningham coming on for Alvin Crosby, who got the goal early in the first half. He's been withdrawn.
Denise Farley drops up the sub slip. The Castletown man's not on yet, or it's just not been announced yet.
Yeah, Castletown have also made a change, and there was a bit of an advantage there which Joseph Curran might have played, and Castletown aren't too happy because it looked like Shane High had positive momentum
again,
there.
You see this is a facet of modern play where a cynical foul maybe just to slow it down.
So
like Castletown getting caught now, where again Walterstown have 13 men behind the ball. By the lack of advantage by Joseph Curran, it plays directly into the hands of Walterstown, where now they can get to flood bodies back.
They can indeed, and Alex Matthews, if you didn't hear it already, is onto the field in place of Mark Kelly for Castletown. So a change of piece.
Again, they're changing the angle, but
it's a risky one from Decky Cribben, but Killian Price knew exactly what he was doing. He's got a bit of chance of space outside of the right boot, but he skewed it badly to the right and again, a long way wide.
We're seeing a lot of repetitive play here. It's going into this right corner here in the hospital end. It's coming back out to the middle, and it's either going in for a kind of a long range shot or it's coming back into the corner. It's just not like what Castletown we're used to seeing. It's very one dimensional, it's very repetitive, and it's just not working. Simple as that.
No, and they've dominated the ball, but yet the 5-point buffer that Walterstown had at the break is still maintained, and we played almost 12 minutes in the second half. Walterstown won 9, Castletown 7 points. Johnny Davis with the kick out looked like a free on Shane High, and it was.
But Castletown need to move it. They're just, again, the ball is slow to come to them.
But Walterstown again getting into their defensive shape and making it extremely difficult for Castletown. Here's Decky Cribben trying to burst through himself, and he's done that well. Can he get a score at the end of it? Fists inside.
Danger
nice
now.
Ball. The ball was there, and it was Robbie High who tried to, I suppose, get it under a spell, but ended up
he nearly could have levelled on it.
It was a heavy touch.
He could have kicked it over the bar the way it was bouncing to him.
Yeah, and I think he tried to flick it up to himself, but he just overhit it, and again a let off of Walterstown. In fairness, haven't been setting the world alight, but they're just about doing enough.
Yeah, like I said, we're nearly in the water break here in the Seamus Connolly Catering Bóinne final, and it's just gone kind of very similar, where Castletown have actually got a lot of dominance now at the moment, like they did in the first half, but they're not scoring. And
they have, and they've got a man that they want running at them, and that's Killian Price. He fists it inside. This is Rian Monaghan. Chance for Monaghan, cuts back, but he's been swallowed up by the looks of it. Alan Wall is the man giving him attention, but he's won the free. And if it was a free, it was a very silly decision for Alan Wall to make, because it looked as if Rian Monaghan wasn't going anywhere there, Kieran.
Yeah, the hard work was done. It's dubious, the decision, but you'd have to go with Joseph Kearney's right beside the play, and again with the players on the ground, why are you tackling them? Let him overcarry the ball. It's probably a naive piece of defending, and it's just giving Castletown that bit of a safety net that they can just kind of hold on, because they're not scoring from play, and this is a 13-metre free, exactly what they need to just kind of build up a bit more momentum, because they're dominating the last 5 or so minutes.
We have a 4-point game. Darren Finney points the free. It's 1-9 to Walterstown, 8 points to Castletown. So still plenty of football and plenty of longevity left in this game. And Johnny Davis, he must have a pain in his right hamstring at this stage, because he's kicked out quite a few at the start of the second half. Can he pick out a Walterstown man? Surely this time Conor O'Sullivan can get his paws on it, but they haven't managed to retain it. And Robbie High was the man to pick up possession. Here's Darren Finney. He goes across laterally. This time it's the substitute, Alex Matthews. First involvement for him. He passes across to Finney. Finney trying to find someone inside, and Kevin Ross offered to make a bit of an angle. Here's Killian Price, whose influence is growing and growing, but he's giving the ball away.
That's not the way to do it.
And Davy Donlan has a bit of time and space. He passes it inside to the substitute for Walterstown. That's Robbie Cunningham. Lovely ball. Brian O'Connell is in. Real chance for O'Connell. He missed it, but he finished the back of the net, and that's surely the goal that will set Walterstown on their way. It was just a lovely ball that just eluded everybody, but except Brian O'Connell was in there in space. He tried the dummy, didn't quite come off, Kieran.
Well, it dummied everyone, including himself.
But he was there to, I suppose, pick up the pieces and blast past Johnny Ginnity, and it's now Walterstown 2-9, Castletown 8 points.
Again, that's been Walterstown's speciality today, is counter-attacking football. I think it was McGrain kicked the ball at long, direct effort with a bit of pace. O'Connell definitely wisely didn't take the advance mark, and he advanced in. He obviously tried to take that extra solo hero to make the goalie probably dive. He didn't. Ginnity stood his ground, but eventually he just got so close that he couldn't miss, really.
Absolutely, and there's a foul here. I'm not sure, was it for Rí Monaghan or Damien Ginnity? The referee said play on, but then he's going to call it back.
You can't do that.
But yeah, absolutely. I think it was actually Robbie Cunningham, the substitute, who kept the ball in. It was his real first involvement. And Castletown, in fairness, as you said, their attack broke down and they were all away at sea. And that's what left the space for Brian
O'Connell.
O'Connell.
Again, we were talking about that horseshoe movement. They didn't, like, the horseshoe has to start in the corner, work its way out and across. You can't go from the corner across, because that's what you see. The diagonal ball it can't travel 50 yards at the pace that it needs to. It was intercepted, and that was the killer blow. And I think that has put possibly the death nail in Castletown. Unless something dramatic happens, it can happen, of course, but unfortunately, I think the death nail has possibly gone into Castletown.
Yeah, well, the comeback has to start here. They're 7 points down. This would reduce the arrears to 6, and it is Darren Finney. He's put it high, and it looks to be very accurate, and he's got the point. So Walterstown 2-9, Castletown 9 points, the 2 goals being the difference, and we're probably just about in water break territory. We played 16 minutes of this second half. Looks as if Joseph Kerner is going to let another play go.
A lot of refs are instructed to kind of say 15 maybe for the first water break and go closer to the 20 for the second one. It's purely up to the referee's discretion, but whereas it depends, if your water bottle's at one end, I wouldn't give the water break until I was down the end where my water bottle was, you know.
Absolutely, yeah. Johnny Davis with the kick out and jumping unopposed that time, but Walterstown somehow managed to win, and that's Conor Farley. Gets it into Davy Donlan. He's buzzing at the moment. Nice little sidestep there by Adam Traynor. Ball inside. Walterstown looking to move at that pace, but that's a slack pass, and Owen Reid read it well. He was surely been fouled, and he'll be...
But again, I think that's a deliberate foul. Clearly stopped momentum. Like, Castletown haven't had the same ability to counter-attack, because Walterstown have either dispossessed on the counter-attack, or else they've done these kind of little cynical fouls. Like, I think Mayo and Dublin probably been some of the best at that at inter-county level.
Yeah.
And we've seen a lot of clubs doing it now, and like, you can't blame them. It's the way to do it. Unfortunately, it's modern football, but Castletown probably haven't done that. Like, where was the collision to stop the counter-attack for the goal? It didn't come. But Walterstown have been very clever. They've nipped most of the attacks in the bud, and now it goes to track your man back, and they'll end up in the net of 12 or 13 behind the ball.
Yeah, absolutely, and that was the difference. Darren Finney now getting on the ball. Nice little left-footed pass to Shane High. A few drops of rain coming down, and the dark clouds from the Kells area are coming a little bit closer as we get closer to kick-off.
I think Courtown, it's definitely the misery from Courtown travels far.
We're definitely not in the Fesh Cup final. Here's Robbie High trying to make something happen. Can he engineer a score? Here's Killian Markey trying to find something, but in fairness to Walterstown, they have that first initial blanket set up, but Decky Cribben looking to burst through. He's going to go off his weaker left foot, or is he?
I think they're thinking goal only, are they?
High, nice ball. Finney surely will favour a score here, and that's a beautiful effort from Darren Finney. He's been probably the star of the show from a Castle.
Here's your water break now.
And again, they have managed to reduce the deficit to 5, and that's with a goal conceded. So it's 2-9 to Walterstown, 10 points to Castletown at the second and final water break. We've played 18 minutes on the button in this second half, so still 12 minutes plus injury time. Kieran, can you see a way back for the Castletown men?
Absolutely, they have the ability to do it. Like, that's not in question. It's just what we've seen so far with 45 minutes or so and more played. They're doing very similar things, and it's just not working. So Walterstown have had the advantageous moments where they've kicked it, they've moved it fast, but Castletown have probably just got caught in kind of monotonous play at times and going around in circles, and possibly that's Walterstown's good defensive play. They've got their 12-13 men behind the ball at times, but at the moment you'd have to say it's Walterstown's games to lose. They're very much ahead, they're dominating majority of play, but Castletown have had a lot of possession, they've had a lot of forward play. It's just not shooting well. Like, they've missed close in frees. They're just not maybe taking their chances.
And
they haven't
been able to engineer a goal opportunity yet. And you'd imagine with that 5-point lead for Walterstown, they would need a goal at some stage if they are going to claw them back in. So yeah, still all to play for. It's been a hugely exciting and entertaining game thus far, and still plenty to go in this one, and a bit of vocal support as well from the travelling contingent here. And we are almost ready to rock again for the last 12 minutes of this half as Kieran Flynn elects to throw on another layer here. It is getting a little bit chilly up here on the terrace on Park Talton. Yeah,
it's just not exactly... Autumn is definitely kicking in slowly but surely. The summer's over, unfortunately, to break the news. Anyone that still thinks they're wearing their shorts and their socks.
I decided to go for the jeans today. I went for the shorts yesterday and I was sorry up at the ladies' game in Clonus. But again, this time it's Castletown are snoozing from the water break and Walterstown playing it to full advantage and winning possession from the short kick out. And the wing back is Colin Henley. Henley again content to keep possession, find Barry O'Connell on the loop. Big, strong, strapping fella, good runner with the ball. Davy Donlan back to Barry O'Connell, cuts inside the possession and he picks out the brother who's been smothered up, and he may well overcarry this, and he has.
It was a hospital pass, wasn't it? I kicked the ball away, bring it up, Joseph. That's it.
Yeah, and it will be brought up, but I don't.
But again, doesn't it? It's cynical play, as in they'll get their men back, so it might bring you up. The 13 metres more advantageous are no good to you really when the ball is going to slow down.
Yeah, and he's kicked it right into the corner as well. So
he was watching the Lions test match or something, or kick for the corner for the territory.
Yeah, absolutely. But Jerry Farley will eventually get things back underway, and Johnny Ginnity, the goalkeeper, comes out to give him a hand, and he's back to Jerry Farley again, looking for options. He goes near side, dangerous enough ball, but Darren Finney's got the pace and wherewithal to win possession and get the free.
But he's very far from the goals. That's not where Castletown need him. I know he's a playmaker as well as a shooter, but they need him, we'll say, outside the D kind of direction in the scoring zone, orchestrating the play.
Alex Matthews getting going, but he's really not controlled it at all, and he's lost possession, and Walterstown can build again with Davy Donlan, whose influence has just continued to grow as the game has progressed. That's a lovely ball inside to Brian O'Connell, who once again is out in front of Owen Reid. Cutting left, jinks inside. What an effort for Brian O'Connell.
Brilliant.
Little fist pump as well to the support base. What a score from Brian O'Connell, and the 6-point lead is re-established. Walterstown 2-10, Castletown 10 points. We've got 10 minutes to go here.
Brilliant. And O'Connell's feet, for a big man, he's jinky because he has the ability to go either left or right. It mightn't be at, we'll say, Olympic pace, but it's powerful running. He's able to beat a man through nearly physicality alone, and the ball coming into him is brilliant. I think we talked about that numerous times, that they're not contesting the ball enough out the field, and it's punishing the inside backs, the cornerbacks and fullbacks, as Finney attacks.
Yeah, Finney attacks, and he's going to try and cut inside the attentions of Barry O'Connell, who did well to curtail him. Rian Monaghan again, I don't know if that's a free. He seemed to be on his way down when he was going down, but it's that neck again which he's clutching. But it is going to be a free in, and I know he's down and injured, but Kevin Ross will probably want him to get up to his feet fairly quick so we could get on with things. 6-point lead for Walterstown, courtesy of that latest score from Brian O'Connell, who, to be honest with you, Kieran, probably has been the difference between the sides. He's been excellent.
Yeah, his inside forward play has just been unbelievable. He's jinked left and right. He's kicked with both feet now. He's beaten his man, which is kind of all the facets you want of a forward and a full forward. Like most players can kind of play with their back to goal and win possession, but can you take a man on? And that's ultimately what O'Connell has done, and it's been class.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kevin Ross tucks away the resulted free to reduce the deficit once again to 5 points. So we've got 9 minutes to play. It's Walterstown 2-10, Castletown 11 points. Can Castletown get that purple patch which they got towards the end of the first half to make a real game of this? Conor Farley collects possession from Johnny Davis and plays it on to Peter Reynolds. Peter Reynolds cuts inside and gives the ball off to Aaron McLaughlin. Aaron McLaughlin to Davy Donlan. Very dynamic, quick, spins and does his pirouette. Plays it off to Barry O'Connell. Will it cut inside? I don't think it will. He's hit that with a little bit too much force, and it goes to the right and wide. So Johnny Ginnity in a bit of a rush now to get things moving again from a Castletown perspective. Doesn't have any option short, so looks as if he might have to blast this long and kick it out this side towards Hoy, I think, and Decky Cribbins going
brilliant.
up, but it's a brilliant take by Evan Hoy, and he's eager to get things moving again. Killian Price, the man you want running at it, plenty of pace and power in his ranks, and he's going and keeps going, and he was pulled back down there rather cynically by Conor O'Sullivan.
Was there a trip?
I don't think so. I think it was more over the shoulder than a trip, but anyway, it's going to be an easy tap over free for Kevin Ross to reduce the deficit to 4 points again. So just when you think Castletown are gone, this will be their chance to hit their third consecutive point to reduce it to 4.
They've done this a few times, but the key has been Walterstown have fought back each time. So that's the onus now very much on Walterstown. From this kick out, will they fight back? That's the question that people will be asking. Yellow card.
Yeah, I think it's about the right call. I don't think it was a deliberate trip. It was a high tackle, if anything, and it probably,
the job was accomplished. Mission accomplished.
Yeah, good foul because Killian Price was really making inroads deep into that.
I think it's what
Walterstown.
Castletown have to do is break the blanket before it gets there. I think your easiest thing to do, rather than trying to break down a blanket defence, is to avoid it and get there before it sets up. And Castletown, when they've done that, they have done quite well.
Yeah.
So Walterstown, when you attack a team at pace, there's not many teams in the country that will withstand a really fast forward like Price running at, or a wing back running at them.
And there's a change. Big Francis Hyde, the veteran, he's come on for Damien Ginnity, who's given his all, but Francis Hyde's going to play as a target man right in on the edge of the square. It's the last roll of the dice from Colm Kyle, and Walterstown have got possession, and they'll look to get a score and try and keep Castletown at arm's length. And they've got Aaron McLaughlin running hard here, but he's deemed to have overcarried the ball, and Castletown have a free.
There were 5 small steps. Jenny, he kicked it up in the air, did he?
And McLaughlin will find Brian O'Connell. Brian O'Connell cuts inside. Can he get another one off his left foot?
Nice.
He's content to hold possession. Finds Aaron Trainer to O'Connell. Walterstown, this suits them down to the ground. Barry O'Connell outside of the right boot. Can he get the score? It's gone right and it's gone wide.
Terrible decision. That they'd done the right thing. Brian O'Connell brought the ball out and they'd recycle possession, and that was probably just a very speculative effort by Barry O'Connell. Like, why would you give that to yourself? I know he has the ability to do it, but just because you have the ability to score from distance doesn't mean it's always the right option.
Sure.
At this stage of the game, management of the clock and management of possession is key.
So we've got 6 minutes left of normal time to play here in Park Tolton. There's 4 points between the sides. Walterstown 2-10. Castletown 12 points, but crucially Castletown have possession, and Killian Markey just about trying to retain it and hold possession. He needs help and he needs an option, and he's got that inevitably by Darren Finney, who uses his body, and he has a go with the right foot. Can he draw it in off the breeze? It's very dangerous. Francis Hoy is in there. Oh dear, and it's gone to the left and wide. I think Francis Hoy was the man to get something on it, but he just couldn't direct it goalwards, and it led off for Walterstown. Their hearts would have been in their mouths there.
Absolutely, and we've talked about John Davis and the goals. How many times has he been batting the ball away? And that, like, all you need is 1 or 2 goals there, and this is a totally different ball game. Like, they haven't scored that goal, and they've had a lot of drop ball in around the square. So I don't know, is it good goalkeeping? Is it just unfortunate by Castletown? It doesn't really matter at the moment. They're just not going in the net, and it's not going over the bar either.
No, and Conor Lenihan has come on in place of Adam Trainer for Walterstown. He's been extremely lively. He's put in a great shift. So Conor Lenihan is on for the last 5 minutes of normal time and whatever injury time there will be, and that's a brilliant take by Cunningham, who's surely taken the mark, and he was then tackled.
As I said, regardless, you're entitled to your first 4 steps free, even if you don't claim it, so you can't tackle a man after catching it.
Yeah, and Robbie Hyde's just getting the lecture from the referee Joseph Kern about that, so it is going to be a free.
He should have brought it up 13 metres more advantageous, but
Robbie Cunningham, he's hit it with the outside of his right boot. This time Brian O'Connell was behind his man, so Alex Matthews is going to be the man to pick up possession and recycle back to Johnny Ginnity, and they can go forward again with Decky Cribben. They've given as good as they've gotten this second half, Castletown. They've never wilted. There were 7 points down. It would have been very easy for them to drop the heads and say it wasn't going to be for them today. Cribben with the ball inside. Shane Hoy looked to be fouled, and that's a good spot from referee Joseph Curran, and there's going to be an opportunity for Kevin Ross to tap this over and make this a 1-score game, Kieran Flynn.
Yeah, it's seriously addictive football, isn't it? Like, it's just, it's like the more you see Castletown fade from the game, the more they actually come back, and they just tantalise you with this coming back the whole time. They're never gone. But Walterstown have kept them, though, just at that arm's length. They haven't really just seeded the ground. Yeah. They haven't been behind, I don't think, in the game, have they? Or no, they haven't been behind yet. And it's just not happening for them. But Jesus, it's entertaining.
It is entertaining, and I think that is the cornerback for Walterstown, Owen O'Mahony, getting a bit of attention. So that's why there is a slight delay. And I think Barry O'Connell is also going to go into Joseph Curran's book, and he's going to pick up a yellow card.
What was that for?
I'm not quite sure, actually.
Must have been off the play or something like that, because he wasn't involved in that.
Back to the president, Kevin Ross does the needful from the free from 14 yards, and we have a 3-point game. It's Walterstown 2-10, Castletown 13 points. We've played 27 and a half minutes here in this second half in the Bóinne final from 2020.
And I think it's important to note that there is extra time, and it is finished on the day with penalties if needs be.
That'd be unbelievable. So Johnny Davis
will test the zoom out in this camera then.
Facing penalties later on. He kicks the ball long, and there's a bit of off the ball shenanigans going on, but possession is always going to be crucial, and Walterstown thought they had it. Do they have it? I think they have it, because Davy Donlan has got it under a spell, but nothing is easy now. Castletown are really pushing up. They're putting a huge amount of this in. The roars from the stand are
Starting to feel like a championship match now. It
pure
didn't at
encouragement.
times. It
Yeah.
didn't, but now it's starting to feel like definitely there's championship coming soon, and these lads need to pick it up.
Absolutely, but Walterstown have nearly relinquished possession. In fact, they actually have relinquished possession. And Decky Cribben, the tireless Decky Cribben back there, winning possession. Shane High getting it to Darren Finney. 28 and a half minutes on the clock. 3 points between the sides. One would suggest Castletown will need a goal, but as you say, Flinner, there could be 3 or 4 minutes of injury time, so there's plenty of time left here. And Killian Price has got the ball in space. The man you want, Robbie High's got the ball. High!
Did it go in? No!
Oh, it's hit the underside of the bar and it's off the
holy
line.
God.
And the ball is booted into the stand, I think, by
Well,
John
holy
Davis.
God, that's...
What an effort and what a chance for Castletown to get level. And Walterstown have a free now. My word, Kieran Flynn.
Oh, holy God.
It was almost a dramatic late ending to this game from Robbie High, but the crossbar and the line denied him.
Oh, like, wouldn't you love to have 45 cameras and replays and VAR and the like of Hawkeyes and all sorts of things? From our Perth up here, definitely looked like it didn't go over the line. It definitely bounced out, but jeez, it was close. It was very close. But the play was wonderful and probably should have been intercepted, but it wasn't. The weight of the pass was just brilliant. Robbie Hoy just will be disappointed now that he didn't bury the net.
Absolutely, and it all spurred from Decky Cribben winning the ball back, and Killian Price with one of those deep penetrating runs. But
Damien Clark from Kiltale is asking, where's the Russian linesman?
Where is the Russian linesman?
I know, he must be in a
hard goal that was in 2010. But Walterstown look like they've overcarried it, which they have, and Joseph Curran have given Castletown another out. We're approaching injury time here. We're in the 30th minute, so we wait to hear how many minutes are going to be added. But Castletown are still going, and Shane High is still going. He's got possession for the men in green and yellow. Can they manoeuvre and engineer another goal chance? That was the only one they've really created, I suppose, so far. Cribben with the outside of the right boot, spraying it out wide. Lovely ball out wide to Killian Markey. He's playing as a forward now. Started as a wing back. He's been brilliant for them. Markey, they need to try and inject some pace and power.
The cry
into
from the North Meath crowd is coming in.
Here's Jerry Farley. He goes across to Finney. Can Finney drop the shoulder and make something happen? He finds Farley. Farley will hook it with the right foot. Has he got it inside? I don't think he has.
Wide.
And that's a harmless wide for Castletown, and another chance goes a begging. We're 30 seconds into injury time. We're not quite sure how many minutes Joseph Curran is going to play, but you'd imagine there'll be 3 or 4. So huge roar, and there's not too many people here, Kieran, but they've enjoyed what they've seen.
Absolutely, it's been a game that at times disappointed, but overall it has been end to end. It's been filled with great moments and exciting moments. So I think overall you'd have to say it's been a game worth watching, and I think definitely some people will be watching it back tonight on the Facebook.
Yeah, absolutely. Walterstown will hope to be watching it back as winners. And this is Cunningham, the man who's made a great impression. He's still going the throw. Slitters at him, Hurley's at him.
Oh!
Cunningham puts it in the net. And
That's serious football.
He puts it beyond doubt now. It would have been easy for him to just tap the ball over the bar. He beat 2 men and he finished at the back of the net, and Castletown's valiant effort is going to come up short here. It's 3-10 to Walterstown, 13 points to Castletown. We played 90 seconds into injury time.
That's just a serious goal. There's no other words for it. You can put hyperbole on it, but it's just unbelievable football. Just ran hard at the ball. So
Killian Markey, who's ran himself into the ground, has been withdrawn. Paul Bellew is on for the final closing stages here as Decky Cribben still going strong. He's had a great second half for Castletown, but it's going to be all in vain because Conor Farley has won that ball and they emerge from it with Mark McCormick. They've been in some battle and they'll have known that. Castletown have given a great account of themselves when it looked like it was ominous for them. They were 7 points down, but they managed to fight their way back in, create that great goal chance through Robbie High, but it just wasn't to be. Brian O'Connell still going. He's got the ball. Looked like he was pushed into it, but referee's given a free out.
Well, he definitely touched the ball on the ground, but it's because he got pushed on top of it, I think.
Yeah, and he's stayed down as well.
I definitely hit the head, definitely hit either the thigh or the body of the Castletown defender.
Yeah, but Castletown eager to keep going, and Brian O'Connell is slowly but surely getting back to his feet. He's going to be okay. We are deep into injury time, 32 and a half minutes played here. Castletown still trying, but Walterstown using all of their experience and nous. And I'm not quite sure what Joseph
There was a substitution happening, was there, or something? I'm not 100% sure.
I'm not really sure because that was mid-play now. Very odd.
O'Connell didn't get sent off, did he? No. No, substitution, yeah.
But
Yeah,
it was in the
substitution,
middle
yeah.
of the play. I don't know, very unusual. But anyway, we play on, and Walterstown winning that long ball, and they've dealt with a lot that's gone in, and there's a big roar because that's the full-time whistle, and Walterstown have seen it out somehow. The scoreline probably flatters them a little bit. Final score here, Walterstown 3-10, Castletown 13 points. But I don't think, Kieran, it was a 6-point win when you look at it. I think Castletown were a lot closer than that.
Definitely in the last 5 to 10 minutes as well, they were applying major pressure, and of course was Robbie Hoey had the chance to bury the net out of it and just hit the crossbar. Like, he'll lament that, and it'll be something that'll be playing on his mind, but he had a good game other than that. But then of course Cunningham goes down the other end for Walterstown and just jinks by a few, and he uses the forearm to clear away for himself, and he buried the net out of it on his team. So Walterstown probably deserving winners. But again, I think you're possibly right in hinting that the scoreline does flatter. But I think Walterstown will be happy with their win. They were resilient most of the time when Castletown played back and looked like they were going to take back the lead or knock it down to 1 or 2 points. Walterstown just knocked on a point or two. So I think overall Walterstown probably will be the deserving champions of the 2020 Bóinne.
They are indeed, and they will go forth to be one of the main protagonists, you'd imagine, in this year's Intermediate Championship. As we said already, it's finished here. Walterstown 3-10, Castletown 13 points, and we will be back at 7 o'clock for the Fresh Cup final between both.
Well, I was going to put you on the spot and get your nominees for the man of the match first. The ideal Bathrooms man of the match always has to be picked. So 1 or 2 for Castletown, 1 or 2 for Walterstown. Go on.
Yeah, I think the 1 or 2 for Walterstown. I thought Mark McCormick had a great game, kicked 3 points from play. Brian O'Connell was superb, throughout. He was the main man inside for them. I think at Castletown, Darren Finney was superb. Killian Markey really strong, and Decky Cribben had a great second half as well. But I have to go with Brian O'Connell, Kieran. I think he was the outstanding performer.
He was brilliant. And then in the Castletown, who was the 1 or 2 great players for them?
Yeah, I would have said Cribben, Killian Markey, very good, and Darren Finney were probably the standout performers. And Kevin Ross always looked dangerous as well.
Brilliant. So I'd say Brian O'Connell overall possibly the man of the match. But what we'll do is we'll zoom in here and we'll leave the presentation on for definitely the Walterstown viewers will be happy, and we're going to take a break, but we'll just zoom in on the presentation for you, and we're going to stay live for the time being.
Ladies and gentlemen, just want to thank a few people before I do the presentation. First of all, I'd like to thank the CCC for organising our competition and the Meath County Board for full support and giving games, especially the final in Park Castle. Secondly, I'd like to thank our sponsors, Seamus Family Catering, Mr. Hero, beside me here, who represents the cup. And thirdly, I suppose we thank our officials. Joseph Burns did a great job along with the officials today in the game, and just give Joseph and his officials around as well there. Just on the game, it was a cracking game of football, and just want to suppose a big round of applause there for Castletown and put up a great Joe, and we're unlucky there, just to say the crossbar and then. But it took a roll and goal down the fire, but it was very, very entertaining second half of that game. Okay, so the round of applause there for Castletown, please. And now I'd like to call on Mark McCormick, please, to set the cup, please. Sorry, wrong guy. Alison Cosby, sorry for the like the county paper there, turn it over to them there. Move. So this 18 years since the first team won up. I think it's a great time. First of all, I'd like to thank Castletown. I think if you got that goal, we were heading down. But I know you're not technically a junior club, but you aren't a junior team, so you still want to get back up into the Hasn't really prepared us, so it's a little bit off the hook. So thanks to National Connolly and staff there. Finally got us winning something in the end, so no people might be got to the corner by whatever, but means a lot to us today. I think I'll ask the Thomas as well as this, you know, that's the for this day. They obviously set out consensus tonight, and we had a few drinks with them. But I know it means a lot to us to win this, and hopefully we can push on for next few weeks, a chance to go wrestling and we want to work out. We're here on this, so we know we can do it. So hopefully they go rolling and push forward and get the club going again. Well done, Castletown. Right?
So we're going to leave this presentation. We'll be back live for the Fesh Cup, by the John McBride JMB Sports Fields Fesh Cup.